We are going to be talking about being authentic in our lives. What does it mean to be authentic? It's the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and being who we actually are. So many of us aren't really authentic, you know? I want to say the guy's name, but that guy, that boy band guy, he's one way, one place, and one way another. So integrity is when you are the same person in all places. And for me, it's kind of hard for me because I have so many different worlds. I have my celebrity world, I have my family world, I have my young women's world at church, I have this, I have that, and I have to make sure that I'm the same person in all of those places. That's what being authentic is. So tonight we're going to be talking about being vulnerable. And it's funny that I'm talking about vulnerability because it is the reason I've never been married. I do not want to be vulnerable, period, amen. I do not want to, but I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys tonight because my intention is, I don't have any of this figured out. My mess is my message. Definitely I've got some mess going on, okay? But it's my message and I feel like it can inspire someone. I just want to help someone who might be dealing with some of the challenges that I'm going through, okay? So, how many of you know what body dysmorphia disorder is? Brandon? Awesome. See, Nate does, okay? Mel does, Becca does. So that's not a lot. It's not really talked about like anorexia and bulimia, but it's real and it exists and I've had it for a really long time, okay? This is kind of what body dysmorphia disorder looks like for me, where you feel so ugly and you feel so fat and you feel so disgusting that you do not want to be seen, period. Like for me, there's been moments where I've called Melissa and I'm like, if I could just get in a cave and never be seen again, my life would be amazing. Like I don't want to be seen. But the funny thing is, I want to be heard. So you have to be seen in order to be heard, and I'm bugged by that. But that's just how it's working right now. So body dysmorphia disorder is a term that was coined in the 1880s, and dysmorphia means ugly. And people that have it, it's a psychological disorder or illness where the person is obsessed about one or two or more perceived flaws in their physical appearance. And here's some of the symptoms of it. Camouflaging, where you hide your face, comparing yourself to others, mirror checking, excessive grooming, seeking reassurance, skin picking. This is what I do, and I've been doing this one for 20 years. Clothes changing. You should see my room when I go to work in the mornings because I can't stand how I look in my clothes. So there's a lot of clothes. Tanning, excessive exercising, excessive shopping, plastic surgery. It just feels, it's so annoying because you want to look normal, but you don't feel normal. And it's not talked about because people think it's vain. Oh, she just cares how she looks. I promise you it's not about vanity. It's you just want to feel normal. You think, like if there's a flaw on your skin, you think that it's all people can see. That's all. You just think that people see you as this distorted figure. For me, I haven't been able to see my body correctly my entire life. And my cute dad, it's like, Kelly, if you could just see your body the way I do. I wish I did, Dad. I mean, I really did. It's just, because I have BDD, I can't see my body correctly. And here are some of the causes. It's hereditary, can come from childhood, from bullying, from neglect, from abuse. Biological, there's chemical imbalances, eating disorders, and then medical conditions. How does it manifest? Most people that have BDD are suicidal. A lot of them are depressed, family problems, social anxiety, drug and alcohol use, financial strain. And it's equally in men as much as it is in women. And it's just not talked about, so I want people to talk about this. For me, depression has been a big part of it. And thankfully, I'm super high functioning with BDD. I have it, but it does not have me. It kicks my butt, but I keep getting up every day. I'll put my clothes on, and I come to work, I get on my plane, and I go to Hollywood and meet with all these beautiful people. I'm like, really? This is how I have to show up with BDD? But there's amazing treatments for it. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, mirror retraining, exposure and ritual prevention, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And this is what it looks like for me. So every night, I dig my face. So look how swollen this is, and this hurt. This hurts so bad. I am not okay with the hairs in my face at all. Like here here, and you can see how thin my eyebrows are because I've been digging the hell out of my face for 20 years. And this started, well, let me go from the beginning, okay? Let's get rid of that ugly picture. Okay, so I want to start back in when I was 17 years old, okay? This is hilarious, but I'm going to leave it on this, but I'm going to. And if you think that's bad, you should see the other photos. My hair-sprayed bangs, sides, it's great. But I grew up in Wyoming. What could you expect other than big hair like that? So when I was in high school, I had a really bad back. And I ended up having to get back surgery when I was 17 years old. And I was devastated because I was athletic and I was pretty good. I played basketball, I played volleyball, I ran track. And I remember coming home after I'd spent 2 weeks in a hospital in Long Beach, California. And I was in a lot of pain. And I remember being at my grandparents' house. We were pulling up, and there's Clint's there. And you know what I'm thinking about? Oh my gosh, I am so skinny. I've lost 10 pounds. And all I could think about was my weight. That's really interesting. At that moment in my life, that's when everything changed about my body. So, went to BYU, go Cougars. I am a Cougar and a Cougar. I do like younger men, and I love the Cougars, okay? Nate knows that. We dated once, right? So, at BYU, I became obsessed with my body because I went from popular to a nobody overnight, and it sucked. And so all I did is compare myself to the beautiful people, and I lived in the dorms, and every day, a good day was based on if I didn't eat sugar, and if I ate sugar, it was a bad day. And every day, Chriselle, you didn't know that, did you? We were freshmen together at BYU, but every day was, are you gonna eat sugar, or are you gonna not eat sugar? And to this day, I have a terrible relationship with food. If I eat sugar today, I'm a bad person. If I don't, I'm a good person. That's a pretty dumb belief that I've developed around food, but it's really where I'm at. I wanted to control everything to make myself feel better. Around 24 years old, well, actually, so after BYU, I graduated, I get my dream job. This is the front office of the Denver Broncos. My brother came to visit me, and that was a fun time in my life. So I start Children's Miracle Network Hospitals 20 years ago, 1996. And as I start dating, I start getting really focused on digging holes in my face, and I literally can't stop. It's like they're evil, and they have to come out. Like, I honestly feel like I'm gonna die if they don't come out, and when I get them out, I feel like I won the lottery. It's a high that I can't even describe, but it's like a coke addict, a heroin addict, a porn addict, whatever it is a hit. And it feels so good, but what happens is I can't just stop. There's no managing tweezers in my house. By the way, I'm on 6 nights without tweezers in my house. So it's a miracle, and I'm super excited about that. It's a really big deal for me. And it was just controlling my life. It's the reason why I haven't dated, because I hate being seen, and I'm so ashamed. There is so much shame around this behavior. Anything that controls your life, there's a lot of shame around. And I just spent nights and days and weeks of isolating myself. Mom and Dad, when I went to visit you lots of weekends for 5 days, it wasn't to see you. It was because I didn't want to be seen by the people here. I mean, I love you, but I mean, really, it was like I did not want to be seen. I was so ashamed, so ashamed. And so what happens is when I dig the hell out of my face, I scald my face, scald it, burn it, and I'm like, it's just gonna heal faster. And then what I do is, if I can't get the hair out, I'm so excited every hour I count down to when the hair is gonna be long enough to get out again, usually 24 hours. And I shut my eyes and I calculate in my head the diagram of where the hairs are. Okay, this one I can get, this one, this one, I go back. And then I just play it back and forth in my mind, the diagram of when I can get it out. That's how much control this behavior had in my life. And a friend of mine, well, actually I have to tell you 2 things first. So you guys are probably like, why didn't you just throw away the tweezers? Dad, just throw away the tweezers. Yeah. Like telling the meth addict to just throw away the meth, it's that easy. And I know, Dad, you didn't think it was that easy, but like, you really think it would be that easy. So you know what I'd do? I'd go to Walmart. I'm like, okay, go to Walmart, go in the bathroom, get the hairs out of my face, throw them away, go pay for my carton thing of the tweezers. And they're like, what are you paying for? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I've already used it. They're in the trash, back in the bathroom. That didn't work, okay? So this one is hilarious. My therapist, and I love this woman. You guys might know her. She's on TV a lot. Her name is Julie Hanks. And she's like, what's something that you really hate in your life? I'm like, child sex offenders. So she's like, well, let's write a check for $1,000 to a child sex offender. We Googled one. There's one that lives right next to me. And if I picked my face in 2 weeks, they were going to mail the check to the child sex offender. So you would think that would be motivation enough, right, for me to not pick my face. So I'm going, and believe me, you guys, every day that you don't use is a hard day. It's hard. You want your behavior. You want that soothing. You want that comfort. So about day 7, I go to Melissa's house, and I'm pissed because there's a hair that needs to come out of my face. And if you know me, I'm always looking for loopholes, and I found one. We did not say that someone else couldn't get the hair out of my face. That was never part of that $1,000 contract. It was just me. So Melissa, I'm like, Melissa, do you remember this day? Probably she wishes she could forget it. But I'm like, Melissa, you got to get this hair out of my face. So she couldn't see it. I was so mad at her. I didn't tell you at the time, but I was so mad that you couldn't see that hair. So, yeah, okay. So I guess I did share it. So my mom and dad are in Salt Lake City on a Mormon mission, and they're downtown, and my mom had left something in the back seat of the car, probably very fortuitously. So I go down to their apartment, and I go to my dad, and I'm like, Dad, you have got to get this hair out of my face. Now, I'm ballistic at this point. I've lost it. I'm crying hysterically like somebody died in the family. That's how bad it was for the hair to be in my face. And I know it's hard to understand, but I know, maybe you guys can relate with something else. So my dad, he told me he said a prayer. And what did you say, Dad? Would you just share it with the group?
Well, I'm just going to give you the bottom line.
Okay.
I pulled the hair out of her face that she wanted out that I couldn't even see.
Yeah.
I had it in the tweezers.
Yeah, I mean, it was more graphic. He isn't going to swear, I guess, today. But anyway, it would have been funny if he did. But so anyway, he could not see the hair in my face, and he got it out, and it was like I was a new person. Oh, I can't tell you the sense of relief that I had. And at that moment, my mom and dad realized I had a problem, right? I think you're like, our daughter has got issues. And so that's why this part is so exciting. So my friend who was struggling with addictions in her life came to me and she said, I've got some addictive behaviors and I'm thinking of going to this treatment center. And I read this book, and it's by Chris and Pax Prentice. And the whole message, and I underlined the whole book, because an addiction is an addiction. I don't care if it's to exercise, if it's to food, whatever it is, if it's controlling your life, it's an addiction. This behavior was controlling my life. Everything about my life, it was controlling. And in fact, it has a lot of control in my life today, but I am taking steps every day to ensure that it doesn't have me, because it doesn't have me. I get to choose every day. It's hard though. So I decide that I want to go to this addiction treatment center. So the one in Malibu is $70-something thousand, and we found one in Ventura, California. And ironically, I just had a job for a certain amount of money, and that's exactly the same amount of money the treatment center was. So I paid the money, and I was going to the addiction treatment center, and I'm sitting down, and I'm checking in, and everyone's talking about they have to confiscate their heroin and drugs and all that. They're like, where's your stuff? Here's my tweezers. Seriously? It was funny. Like, really? Tweezers are your addiction. But here's the crazy thing. I don't know if I've told my parents this, but I found a loophole in treatment. Because I find loopholes. I had cuticle clippers. And those cuticle clippers, I could just get them, and if they were long enough, I could pull them out. So I cheated in treatment. But it's okay. I didn't have tweezers, so I'm proud of that I went the 30 days. But I have to tell you, I learned some amazing things at this treatment center, and I'm going to share them with you, because a lot of us are familiar with addiction. And I just want to share, hopefully one of these will resonate with you. And more importantly, if you have an addiction in your life, I don't want you to have shame around your story, because I've had shame around this story for so long. I wish I didn't have BDD, but I do, and it's okay. It becomes less when you talk about it. We have to talk about those things in our life, so it becomes less. All right, Shattering the Broken Mirror. So when I got out of treatment, I started writing this book, Shattering the Broken Mirror. Because honestly, the mirror that I look in does not see me. It just doesn't. I wish it did, but it didn't. So I, in hypnotherapy, learned this very cool tool. And here's what I learned at this treatment center. It's a very holistic approach to treating addiction. It's hypnotherapy, it's acupuncture, it's psychotherapy, it's life coaching, it's sound music therapy, it's continuing medication classes, like all of these different things. But hypnotherapy was my very favorite part of my treatment center. And in one of my sessions, we talked about a new mirror. So I literally shattered that broken mirror that I was looking in, and this is the mirror I look in today. Well, actually, sometimes. I don't do it all the time. This mirror is what other people see me. How do my friends and family see me? So I think about how my dad sees me. You know, my dad, he thinks I look great, you know. So I try to see myself the way others who know me see me. And then I see my inner beauty. And honestly, I've got a lot of flaws, but there's a lot of things that I like about myself. Like, I have a big heart. I'm a kind person. I try to do things right. When I screw up, I say I'm sorry. But I know I got a lot of inner beauty going on. And then the other one is, how does God see me? I'm totally perfect. I am so perfect. So if I look in that mirror every day, I'm going to feel a lot better than looking in this broken mirror over there who can't see crap. Like, yes, I don't want to look in that mirror anymore. This one I also learned in hypnotherapy. So I want you guys to all shut your eyes and imagine that you're walking into a white room. All four walls are white. There's nothing in there. And you are creating a brand new life for yourself right now. And I want you to visualize right now what you're bringing in that room. So bring in one thing. Now bring in another thing. I'll bring in another thing. Now bring in another thing. Okay, you can open your eyes. When I did that, I didn't bring in my addiction. My addiction isn't creating happiness for my life. But you need to know what it is in your life that brings you happiness. And if there's something in your life right now that you didn't bring in that room with you, that you want to let go of, maybe you should let go of it. All right, identifying your underlying conditions. That's the whole premise of this treatment center. Once you identify the underlying conditions that are causing the dependency to the behavior will go away. I was so excited about that. So for me, I've been doing energy work with Chris Anderson for 3 years. She is so incredible, so amazing. And she has helped me identify those underlying conditions that happened to me when I was little and some beliefs that I formed around those. And I know exactly why I have the issues that I do with hair. It's so cool. And once you identify those, you can let it go. All right. This is so cool. And most addicts don't know this, but our feelings are a roller coaster. We go up, and they will always go down. But do we know that the feeling's going to come down? Because right when you want to use, you think you're going to die, but if you just hold on, you're coming down. Just hold on, you're going to come down. So you have to be willing to feel your feelings. It changes everything. Changing your beliefs. For me, there's so many crazy beliefs in my life that aren't serving me, and you have to look at the belief. And here's really the belief that I have, as I've talked to Melissa so many times. I'm gonna die if I don't get this hair out.
You're right.
Yeah, and Melissa's like, but that's how it feels. Is that true? Is that belief true? Am I gonna die? I've gone 6 nights without tweezers in my house. Have I died? No. Have I been very uncomfortable? Do I know exactly how many hairs I could get out right now if I had tweezers? Yes, I do. But I haven't died. So we just have to change our beliefs. We have to question them. If they aren't serving you, let them go. All right, taming your triggers. For me, here's trigger. I have a magnifying mirror in my bathroom. I need to get rid of that trigger. It is so stupid, but it's there. You've got to tame your triggers. For me, a good night is when I just go in and turn the light off and I just go wash my face in the dark. That's taming a trigger, you know? Just, you're not gonna dig your face when you can't see your face. So whatever that trigger is in your life, identify it and tame it. And then realize that you're at crossroads every day in your life. You have the point, or you have the opportunity to reach your dreams, or you have the opportunity to not and go back and fall backward, and then you just have to take more steps forward. But when you live your future by staying loyal to the present. So stay committed to those goals that are set in the present. Like right now, I want to be able to date and not worry about what I look like. I want to show up at work and not have you guys wonder why I have holes in my face. And I know you probably don't care, but for me, that's all I think that you see is my flaws. That's all I think that you see. So you just have to make the decision, what do you want for your future? And then you have to surrender, my favorite word, surrender. It's hard for me, but you have to allow things to be. You stop, you breathe, and then you leave the situation. And this, my amazing friend Melissa is a life coach as well, so if you guys need a life coach, she's amazing. But she calls me out on my BS all the time, and it bugs me sometimes. I'm like, okay, you're right. I hate that. But you can't buy your BS. We're all telling ourselves BS all the time. You gotta get rid of it. Now, I have to tell you a really ironic thing. So in my life, over here I'm with celebrities all the time. Beautiful celebrities. And I have to show up not wanting to be seen. And then I go home to my little house. I just get to be by myself where it's totally safe and comfortable because I don't really want anyone to see me. And then over here, I have all of my miracle goods. And they don't have perfect bodies. Some of them don't have arms, some of them don't have legs. Some of them have facial deformities. And I feel so much guilt because here I have this amazing life, amazing family, amazing friends, amazing jobs. And here are these kids who just choose to be happy and see themselves as beautiful. So I have a lot of guilt and shame around that. So I'm trying to find a balance. But it's hard, but you have to recognize, I want you guys, if you ever look at your life and like, well, it could be harder, you know what, you have to recognize where you're at because your things are your things. They are real to you. So I want to tell you about Isaiah. Isaiah is our champion from Arizona, and I get to meet him in Washington, D.C. in June, and I am so excited. And if you read that, he was born 2 months early without a jaw. He lacked breathing passages and was deprived of oxygen for 15 minutes. Doctors weren't sure he'd survive. He did, and he's been a fighter ever since. Now here's the craziest thing ever about his story. Isaiah could have surgery to have a jaw, but he doesn't want one. You know why? He wants people to see past his physical appearance. How incredible is that? He's proud of himself. He's proud of how he looks. I should be proud of how I look. This is the body that God gave me, and I pray that I can see it the way that he sees it. And I know when I don't love it, I'm disrespecting what he gave me. But it's just like a little interesting dichotomy of how I have to deal with this BDD in this crazy work that I'm in. Now, I'm so excited to share this next thing with you. So my life is about miracle kids, and in February, we brought in this adorable little girl. Her name is Angelica Hale. And when she was 5 years old, she got double pneumonia. She nearly died. Her mom gave her, she was on dialysis for quite some time, and mom gave her kidneys. And today, she is a rock star. Nobody knows about her yet, so I'm working on helping launch her career. And right now, I'm trying to work with Selena Gomez, so I just had her tape this for Selena. And I want you guys to watch because I want you to listen to the words in the song that she sings, because that's what I'm here talking about tonight, is truly loving ourselves, being authentic, being vulnerable, being willing to be seen, and being willing to share our story, because that is what it's about, is loving one another just for who they are.
Selena Gomez, I'm Angelica Hale, and I'm 8 years old. I am such a big fan! I'm going to tell you something about me. I survived double pneumonia, and I had a kidney transplant in the hospital. Children's Healthcare of it. And my mommy was the donor. Anyways, I want to be a singer just like you. I'm going to sing a piece of The Greatest Love of All for you from Whitney Houston. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they say from me,
I am so excited. I just booked her today for an event for Walmart, June 3rd, and I get to see that little cutie again. She is amazing, but the greatest gift of all is to love ourselves. And I know all of you guys in this room, and I think that you're all incredible and amazing and rock stars, and I want you to believe that for yourselves if you don't. Because I love each of you guys so much, and I want you to love yourself the way that I love you and the way that God loves you. Now I want to read you a poem that I wrote when I got out of treatment center, and Melissa framed this for me. Thank you very much. Can I tell him the funny story? She spelled my name wrong. She spelled it I-E, and we'd only been friends like 7 years. But that's okay. But how nice is it that she got me? Okay, so she got me this. So it's cool. So I wrote this. There's swear words in it. I'm bleeping them out, okay? It's called Pieces. For 20 years, I looked in you and only saw my flaws exposed. You kept me down, alone and scared. You made me sad with complete despair. I trusted you and thought you knew who I was and what I could do. The lies you told, I bought right in. You're fat, you're gross, you'll never win. You're not enough, you never were. You should be alone, you don't deserve more. But sad for you and great for me, I figured out you're full of crap. You don't know me, you never did. You never saw my true core self. You underestimated just how strong I am. But now it doesn't really matter because I finally can take this huge blank hammer in my hand and shatter you to pieces on the ground. I got a new mirror now who only sees what's really true, and that's a beautiful me. So that's how I felt when I walked out of treatment center. It was so amazing. So for me, I've lived my life by numbers. Everything is a number. How much do you weigh? How much time did you spend on the machine? Did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. Everything is a number. Numbers don't do me good. Now, Jesse in the back is an amazing trainer, coach. You use numbers, right? It's how people achieve their goals. So I'm not knocking numbers, but for me, numbers aren't good for me. So I now measure a good day by a few different things. I don't get on the scale anymore because I don't need to know how much I weigh. But this was from Melissa, and this is a text that she sent me in 2010, and she says, Kelly, why don't we just let go of the numbers, and why don't we measure a day by did you feel? Did you love? Did you feel loved? Were you present? Isn't that a really good mark for how your life is versus how much did you weigh today? How much did you eat? You know, we get to choose a different measuring system. So can someone bring me that bowl in the back? Did everybody get a card? If you didn't get a raffle ticket, I'm giving away a Fitbit because I don't want it anymore. I don't need to know how many steps I took because it bugs me. I become obsessed with the number and I don't want to know. But make sure everyone got one because I want you to each have an equal chance. If you didn't get one, is there anyone that wants a Fitbit that doesn't have a raffle ticket? Okay, Jesse in the back wants one. So you can give her one. Okay, yeah. Oops. Okay. Thank you. What? Oh, thank you for coming. That's so amazing. Okay, everybody got it in? Okay.
Kelly, there's one more.
One more? Okay. Awesome. Do you take clients?
Of course.
She's amazing. Amazing trainer. She's taught me so many amazing things. She's great. So, who wants to draw for me? I think, Ben, you want to draw?
Sure.
Okay. And then you can read it. Oh, Elsa?
Elsa.
Okay, Elsa. I used this for like a week or two, but it's brand new other than that. So this is yours. Yay! Yeah. Will you hand that to Elsa? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ben. So just to close out, I just want you to know that I love you guys so much. I feel so grateful that you're my friends, that you showed up for me tonight. It means the world to me. You have no idea. And it is my dream to be a motivational speaker. I just want to help people who have problems. And so I want you guys to hand this out. This is a little gift from me to you. There's money in it, but it's not much, okay? It's $1. And with that $1, I want you to either use it to love yourself or use it to show love to someone else. And just really quick before I close, does anyone have any questions for me? anything, if you have anyone in your life that's dealing with body dysmorphia disorder, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, addictions, I will talk to anybody because I get it. I get what it feels like to not want to be alive because you can't stand to be seen. So I'm totally, like, I'll talk to anybody, but I just want to say thank you for coming. I love you guys.